Alrighty, welcome everybody to the final session for our Wednesday, VALA 2022, and this is the Williamson Award session. Williamson Award. Now, as you may know, and if you don't, please see the awards page of the VALA website. VALA has an active awards program. Our awards program includes the biennial VALA Award, which recognizes outstanding customer service that leverages existing or emerging technologies. We also have diversity scholarships that enable library professionals who would otherwise be unable to attend Tech Camper Conference to attend those events. And we also have the biennial Williamson Award. The Robert D. Williamson Award is our most prestigious award, and it was established in memory of Robert Bob Williamson. In keeping with Bob's legacy, the Williamson Award honors professionals who have demonstrated leadership, curiosity, excellence, and innovation throughout their career. It is a peer-nominated award that asks the VALA community to recognize outstanding contributors to the development of information technology usage in Australian libraries and information agencies. VALA grants this award, yes, but we do so in response to the recognition of your colleagues, which was very much what Bob Williamson was about. This award is always presented at VALA Conference, and its recipient is kept top secret until the presentation. And there's always a bit of fun in this session because I'm going to start describing the achievements and the career of this year's Williamson Award winner, and you get to have the fun of guessing. Who might this be? So let's start the guessing game. This year's Williamson Award winner has had a 43-year career as a librarian and has made outstanding and unique contributions to information management within their information agency, which actually has impacts throughout the Australian glamour space. In fact, their work has been key to realizing the highest possible value for data that enriches Australian and international research. And they have a proven track record in leading or supporting projects that have altered the Australian research data landscape. They are well known as a metadata and citation expert, and they have deep knowledge of best practice standards for these concepts. In fact, citations is one of their passions, and they've been at the forefront of innovations such as bidirectional links between publications and supporting data, and the implementation of citation and alt metrics on each of their agency's publications. Further, they were a key driver in the implementation of ORCID at their agency, providing technical advice and practical liaising to provide an automated integrated service so that researchers can add publications to the agency's repository, and these records flow up to ORCID. But wait, there's more. Speaking of repository, the 2022 Williamson Award winner brought technical and metadata expertise to a very large-scale project that migrated legacy data from several individual repositories into a new enterprise repository. This was an enormous undertaking, and the result is a single record of all of the agency's publications over its entire history, with the early publication dated 1917. The Williamson Award winner also fostered the attachment of full text whenever possible, as well as the inclusion of, and I always say this wrong, DOIs or DOIs? DOIs, thank you. DOIs to link to access where full text access was not possible. In their current role, they are an acknowledged guru and a sounding board for all of the innovative ideas and new initiatives within their agency's library service. Their colleagues depend on their support, their advice and enthusiasm, and their ability to get new projects off the ground, supported, and brought to completion. Finally, the 2022 Williamson Award winner has a very strong publication history, has helped organize events such as GovHack, and has long served on the Standards Australia IT 019 Committee and the Australian National Data Services RIFCS Advisory Board. This year's 2022 Williamson Award winner is Anne Stevenson from CSIRO. We're going to get a few photos. I'm going over here now. We've got a little for you. Amazing. Yes, it's pretty. Oh, it's beautiful. I'll put the logo in as well. Yes, do a slap on the job. you. Graceful.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I'm not sure that I recognise myself in that. I'd like to start by paying my respects to the traditional owners of the lands that I am visiting, because I'm coming down from Newcastle, and that we're all meeting on today, and the traditional owners of the lands from which online attendees are participating. I pay my very sincere respects to their elders past and present. I had prepared an acceptance, but I've seen two amazing keynote speakers today, and I'm going to deviate a little bit. I don't have any slides, so you'll just have to put up with my very nasally twang. I've done 3 rat tests. This is not COVID. It's how we preface everything that we talk about a cold these days, isn't it? It's not COVID. So, to the award committee, to the VALA delegates, and to my library colleagues, thank you so much for this incredible privilege. The Williamson Award has a very proud history in our world, and in fact it was a CSIRO person who was the first recipient 40 years ago, and you've done me a very great honour today. It's what an exciting time it is. Oh, I'm going to cry. I'll get over that. What an exciting time it is to be a librarian. I've been fortunate to work for CSIRO, Australia's National Science Agency, for my whole career. Working in special libraries has given me the opportunity to try every different type of work that we might come across. And this is all old library speak, so acquisitions, cataloguing, circulation, document delivery and reference work, as well as managing publications records for reporting purposes. And for those of you from the university sector, think of a cut-down version of the ERA, because it's not as painful as that. And ultimately managing a small team when I took over one of the special libraries. Now, for the record, and you can store this away for future reference, I loved cataloguing. I really loved cataloguing. People tell me I'm very weird. That's okay. CSIRO's Library Services has a long history of innovative practice. Early adopters of online services such as online abstracting and indexing services, use of email for document delivery in the 1980s, and of course the World Wide Web in the 90s with browsers such as Mosaic and Netscape that are names that have gone to history. Let's face it, Google's been a verb since 1998. It's amazing how long we've had it with us. CSIRO had an early entry into electronic journals, negotiating whole of publisher suites in 1999. More recently, we've moved into transformative agreements promoting open access publications. As a statutory authority, CSIRO has had approval practices in place for external release of publications for many years. About 15 years ago, the opportunity presented to be involved in designing an enterprise-wide publications approval system and repository. This felt like everything I'd ever done coming together. Divisional publications recording, plus publications approval support, plus love of cataloguing, plus some systems design and analysis that I did in uni, a very long time ago, in a computing science major. All this, but with new learnings, as I entered the world of repositories, and I say that with capital letters. To me, one of the most exciting outcomes of this work has been the development of a publications repository with 2 very special features, and you've heard them. It showcases CSIRO's publications history back to the organisation's first origins in 1916-1917. Plus, it's a collection place for CSIRO's significant legacy of grey literature, reports that in the past may have been very hard to find. This work is supported by a significant digitisation project of runs of divisional reports. Then I moved into data management, and in fact, it's that recognition that all of that work that I'd been doing with publications recording was managing bibliographic data. It was like a light bulb moment. And CSIRO's Data Access Portal, which we all know and love as DAP, with a description of additional research output, so more cataloguing, and citation styles, something I'm passionate about, extending my cataloguing and publications work. DAP is now over 10 years old. It's a data and a software repository now with over 6,500 publicly available collections. Data.csiro.au, it's really easy to remember. And the publications is publications.csiro.au. We did that really smartly, didn't we? Around that time, I attended a boot camp run by the Australian National Data Service, or ANS, who are now ARDC, the Australian Research Data Commons, where data citation was of growing interest, because a lot of people involved in data collection don't necessarily get their recognition as authors on a paper. Despite 15 years of promotion, that practice is still in its infancy, and finding data citations is a laborious process. It draws on all a librarian's training using tools like Web of Science and Scopus, but a massive body of data referencing is still buried in the text and not explicitly surfaced through reference lists, despite encouragement and support from the major publishers like Nature and Public Library of Science. And there's a lot more work to be done there, and that's for the generation that's coming now. I've been incredibly fortunate to work for and with some talented and visionary librarians. Ricky Teban, who taught me how to listen to researchers, to listen to what they wanted. Andrew Wells, who some of you may know, who I was lucky to have as a cataloguing teacher at TAFE a very long time ago. Jeff Payne, who is a previous recipient of this award as well, who has been the long-time chair of TC019. It's the Standards Australia Technical Committee, which I am a member. Leanne Griffiths, who we lost recently to a brain tumour, a wonderful, warm mentor and friend. And of course, Cynthia Love, who I'm sure many of you know, the most visionary and driven librarian that I've been lucky enough to meet. Her impact in CSIRO has been phenomenal, and outside CSIRO, far-reaching with her foundational work with the Australian National Data Service, developing data management services across Australia and championing that vision within CSIRO. I feel incredibly privileged to lead CSIRO's research data services. It's a team of passionate, committed data librarians and specialists. There's no rule book to follow, but together we apply information management principles of description, curation, collection to a diverse range of research outputs and gather best practice guidelines from far and wide. Initiatives such as the Australian Research Data Commons, the Research Data Alliance, and organisations like DataCite and ORCID certainly inform our practice. For us, for all of us, it's all about supporting our researchers and our client bases and ensuring we can meet the needs of early adopters, plus encourage those less advanced on the data management spectrum. But what is research data management? It's about ensuring that the research data is fit for purpose. It's as simple as that. If data is going to be used to train AI tools like Kathy spoke about so beautifully today, it needs to be the right data, well described, findable, but being deposited in a repository, in non-proprietary formats so that it's interoperable, licensed appropriately for reuse so that others coming along know what they can do with that data. The gathering of that data should be done with full awareness of privacy and ethics requirements, as eloquently described by Alison. De-identified data should not be manipulated to enable re-identification if that purpose is not clearly and explicitly stated from the beginning of the collection. Now, I acknowledge there's been a lot of I and me in this acceptance, but just as our researchers stand on the shoulders of giants, we librarians don't act alone. While I've been singled out for the nomination, none of those achievements would have been possible without my team and our colleagues. So please indulge me while I acknowledge RDS members both past and present: Sue Cook, Dom Hogan, Michaela Lawrence, Katie Hannon, Kami Cronje, Christina Street, Andrew Williams, Tracy May, Ainsley Painter, and Amy Miniter. In addition, the business analysts, developers and testers that I have had the great good fortune to work with, information management and information technology working incredibly well together to deliver the required tools for CSIRO. What an exciting time to be a librarian. New specialisations developing in repository management and data management, promise of linked data being realised through the evolving work with persistent identifiers for all types of entities and objects, DOIs and handles for publications of all kinds, including data and software. We need to be thinking about them as just another type of publication. ORCIDs for individuals, grids and rules for organisations and RAIDs for activities like projects. IGSN's the International Global Sample Number for samples and specimens so that we can track back to the actual collected specimen. And working groups looking into identifiers for instruments. That's just scary. And that brings me to my vision. Imagine the power of retrieval. We all know about retrieval. We're all trained in retrieval. Imagine the power of retrieval if any persistent identifier that appears anywhere in a publication was surfaced through a service like Crossref. This would have multiple benefits, including identifying data citations, identifying the use of research facilities, collections and instruments, and identifying specimens and samples used in research across all disciplines. We've come such a long way in our development and use of digital solutions, and still there is so much work to do. It's an exciting time to be a librarian. Thank you.